state's most watched news starts now.
Welcome to the KOM Morning News, where it's 5 o'clock. I'm Michael Hayslip. Coming up this half hour, Missouri Southern men, favorites to repeat as MIAA indoor track and field champions. We're going to have more on their story, and for our Something to Talk About on the KOM News Now Facebook page, your favorite Super Bowl snack. I know, I didn't go political on you. You're wondering what's going on. You can participate in our Insta poll as well. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. We will start though with a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Once again, mostly cloudy skies to start, but here's the important thing. Number one, we don't have to worry about any precipitation. Number two, we are actually going to finally see some sunshine later on today. We've lost all our watches and warnings that were associated with the winter weather that we had yesterday, but still chill in the air. Then again, it is late January as we range anywhere from 28 in Parsons to 27 in Monette, 26 in Lamar, and 28 right now in Pittsburgh. As far as our winds, you're going to see a nice little shift throughout the course of the day. There we go. And once it begins to completely work in from the south, any snow that we have left on the ground, it will be a thing of the past, as we're going to be able to get up into the 40s with ease. And the sunshine going to melt everything off very, very quickly. 7-day forecast shows us that we keep on warming up as we head into the weekend. So we'll go mid to high 40s today, 50s on Friday and Saturday. And of course, that Saturday precipitation, just keep it as rain. And then really pretty seasonable as we close out January in the 40s and 50s. We're seeing discrepancies in vaccine data at the federal, state, and local levels, even as the state of Missouri rolls out a new system. The CDC's COVID data tracker show that there's been 340,000 doses given in Missouri. All right, 340,000. The Missouri tracker shows there's been more than 374,000. Also discrepancies between the state and local levels. In McDonald County, state says 737 doses. County says it's actually been more than 1,000. Director of the Newton County Health Department says it may just come down to time delays.
Best guess would be that at the local level, we enter data right here, right now, and then that data has to be relayed back to the state, and then the state relays it back to the federal. Some of that data may be delayed.
Bergner suggests that residents who are curious about the data should pay the most attention to local numbers, since they're going to be the ones that are up to date. Newton County Health Department also received its first shipment of coronavirus vaccines. We have more on that on our website. Go to komnewsnow.com. State of Missouri has a new dashboard aimed at keeping you up to date on the vaccine situation. Governor Mike Parson announcing the website's launch that provides information as to who's eligible for vaccinations and how many people have been vaccinated so far. Find that link to this page, you guessed it, komnewsnow.com. Now, Governor Parson also trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. Governor's spokesperson says Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens and plan to ask for more. Those will be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move will not keep pharmacies from finishing their work when it comes to providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. In Oklahoma, the state trying to give some of its meds back. State Attorney General trying to return $2 million worth of anti-malaria drugs. Oklahoma acquired 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. A company spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has been shown to have little to no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. Now, a former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to, quote, the fog of war, end quote. An Oklahoma man drove all the way to Washington State so he could get a COVID-19 vaccine. Dwayne Renenberger says Oklahoma health officials wouldn't give him the vaccine because he's still technically a Washington resident. So, 84 years old, he drove all the way to Richland, Washington, where he's originally from, to get the vaccine. Renenberger says he will stay with his daughter until he gets his second shot in Washington at the end of next month. NEO-A&M in Oklahoma receiving $15,000 to support arts programs on campus affected by the pandemic. School will buy new gear such as cameras, projectors, and live streaming equipment. KOM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us about the impact of the grant and how it will impact students.
Connor Rice is among many students who have had to adapt to online learning during the pandemic. Connor studies music education at NEO-A&M, and shifting to online learning as an art student wasn't an easy transition.
I was in a ton of music classes, and it's hard to have any kind of music ensemble when everybody's away from each other. So it hit us pretty hard.
He says distance learning just wasn't the same.
I didn't really have classmates, it felt like I had to go through college all alone.
NEO-A&M was awarded $15,000 through the Oklahoma Arts Council to support the arts on campus. The grant is part of the CARES Act. Rachel Lloyd, a grant director, says arts on campus struggle most with the online transition and believes the grant will make virtual learning more accessible and fill any gaps left by going online.
The main challenge in converting content and delivering it online has really been in the art-specific courses that are trying to transmit musical selections or even student artwork.
In most cases, students still have the option between in-person and virtual or hybrid learning, but the grant may be the key to bridge divides between students, no matter their learning preference. In Miami, Bronte Sorotsky, KOM News.
Purchases soon in the hopes of delivering content virtually by spring. Joplin Parks and Rec Department meeting to discuss the results of a survey on its master plan. That survey designed to get public opinion on options, and including projects surrounding Ewart Pool, as well as adding lights to parks and ways to make trails safer. City's Parks and Rec Director tells us it was vital to get community input on the plan.
I can say all the projects that I think the city needs, but I mean, that's not why I'm here. We work for the public. So all these projects obviously are ideas and suggestions from the public.
Everything that they talked about last night then is presented before the City Council and a citizen-led committee. Look at our weather trend now that we're pushing up on 7 minutes after the hour. Sunny skies later on today. It'll be nice to actually sit back and enjoy some sunshine. That weather trend feels just a little skosh cooler than what I'm going to go. I'm going to go mid-40s by the time we get into the afternoon hours, if not a little bit high 40 action down in the south. And the reason is wind is going to shift today, come in us from the south. We love that action. It's going to be a clear night as well, and any cloud cover that we do see develop on Thursday or Friday is not going to have any precipitation in it. That's going to be the key factor. Next shot for rain is going to be Saturday, but look at those temperatures. We can keep that simply as rain. Don't have to worry about anything flipping over. And any snow on the ground, yeah, with temps like that, is going to be a thing of the past by the time we get to the weekend. That is a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOM Morning News, a former Webb City lineman just finished up his rookie season with the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to have his reaction to a life in the NFL. And why vaccine doses are becoming hard to find in some states. Americans expected to eat enough wings during the Super Bowl to circle the globe several times. Break down the National Chicken Council's wing report. That's right, there's a National Chicken Council. You're watching the KOM Morning News. We've got more real news in the morning, even if it is about the National Chicken Council. We'll be right back. 30 Southern men favorites to repeat as MIAA indoor track and field champions. Our own Danny Terzer catches up with the Lions to talk about dealing with high expectations and their plans to contend at the national level come March.
The Missouri Southern men's track and field team is no stranger to success. The Lions claimed the MIAA indoor championship last season. They'll take their first step towards a repeat this weekend.
With COVID and everything like that, just being able to compete against other teams, being able to actually race is something that we haven't done in 9 months now, and so that's probably honestly the most important thing to me now, is appreciating those small things and being able to get back into the competition and racing again.
I don't think anybody takes much for granted anymore. I think we're excited to be out there on the track. I think they're excited to compete.
Expectations are high here. The Missouri Southern men have been ranked #1 in the MIAA in the coaches' preseason poll, making them the favorite to win the league.
We expect to always be at the top of this conference. We expect to compete well. We expect to compete for championships. And that's just been something that has been a very strong tradition at Missouri Southern for a very long time.
The Lions know the rankings are just that, a number. They're hungry to earn their spot on the track.
If anything, having a #1 ranking going in is just going to push them even harder, because they know if that's the expectation of others, then maybe that's going to push them a little bit harder to work.
In Joplin, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Lions in action this weekend at Pittsburg State, and as a matter of fact, the Pittsburg State men right behind Missouri Southern, PSU #2 in the MIAA preseason poll. Pitt State's Haven Lander, once again, MIAA Field Athlete of the Week. We had a chance to profile her last week. This is the second straight honor for the senior. Last weekend at Washburn, Lander cleared 13 feet, 7 3/4 inches in the pole vault. That is a Pittsburg State University record. Oh, by the way, that 13.7.75, that's the #1 mark in all of Division II so far this year. Congratulations there to Haven. That's amazing. Former West City lineman Tristan Colon Castillo. He just finished up his rookie season with the Baltimore Ravens. The former Webb City Cardinal made 2 starts at center this season in his first NFL season. That first start, well, that came against the Steelers in Week 12. And it came on very short notice after COVID-19 got to the guys ahead of him on the depth chart.
I missed a phone call from Coach Harbaugh, and he was like, and so he was like, call me back when you get a chance. So I was like, oh no, like I missed the head man's phone call. I'm in trouble now. So, I was jokingly, but then I called him. He was like, hey, I don't know if you've talked to Coach D yet or anything, but Matt tested positive for COVID. You're going to be starting at center. So I went from, I was backing up to playing the short yardage. Said, nah, forget that stuff. You're the guy now. Like, you need to get your mind right. You need to get ready to go. And it was crazy. I was at the same time I was super excited.
What a great story there when Tristan's talking about missing the phone call the first time. I love that. And you can check out our full interview with Tristan on our sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Now, speaking of Webb City, big one last night for the boys basketball team to go on the road to Nixa. Webb City's ranked 6th in Class 5. Okay, remember, that's Class 5. Well, Nixa's 6th in Class 6. Yeah. Take that, Springfield. Cardinals win it, or Nixa wins it, 77-56. But still, a great showing and great experience to go up there, play a COC matchup against a ranked Class 6 team. Alex Martin, he had 11 points for Webb City. Now, still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a Canadian man arrested after saying he wanted to stop an election, saying he was willing to use violence to do so. And a check on our 7-day forecast from the KOAM Morning News returns. Just a little past 5:17. I may have gotten a little long-winded during sports, my bad. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on this Thursday morning. Overcast skies, but we don't have to worry about any precipitation. Nice little change of pace there from what we've had past couple of days. The entire Midwest staying dry, and all those watches and warnings from yesterday, they have now pushed all the way out to the Mid-Atlantic. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera, really don't notice a whole lot of snow that's even left on campus right there. 27 degrees, so yeah, it's chilly outside. Feels like 19 right now. These are actual temperatures, 28 in Parsons. Let's roll 27 in Monette and 26 in Lamar. As far as the national perspective, got that trough. That's the radar that we looked at earlier, pushing off the East Coast right there, but nice little ridge beginning to build just on the other side of the Rockies That's an indicator of some warmer temperatures to come. So we're going to be able to make it up into the mid-40s today. That's going to begin our melt for any of the snow that is left. Got reports anywhere from 1 3/4 inches. Had some places got close to almost 3 inches out in southwest Missouri, but really setting up for a delightful end of the work week. Now, Saturday, do want to point that out because even though the temperatures are going to be nice, it is going to be a little bit of a rainy Saturday. So watch those outdoor plans. And then after that, pretty seasonable to finish off January and begin February. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. All right, Americans expected to eat a staggering 1.4 billion, with a B, 1.4 billion chicken wings on Super Bowl Sunday. Put them together, circle the earth 3 times. National Chicken Council, those are my peeps. National Chicken Council's wing report says that that's up 2% from last year. Says the uptick is because of the pandemic. Wings, they call them comfort food. They hold up for deliveries. Council says 72% of Americans like French fries with their wings. 14% prefer celery. Super Bowl, February 7th. Chiefs, Bucks, 5:30 right here on KOAM. Our question to you, your favorite Super Bowl snack. I've got like 18 of them sitting in front of me here. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. I have 18 options. I don't have 18 snacks in front of me. I wish that were the case. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. And you can always bring us snacks. We're always for that. So this is kind of funny because Healthwatch is next. Topping Healthwatch this morning, frustration continues as coronavirus vaccine doses become harder and harder to find in a number of states across the nation. Jillian Turner has the details.
Last week, California's Governor Gavin Newsom announced residents would not receive the 50 million vaccine doses they've been counting on. Long lines at drive-in vaccination sites are the new normal.
They're not even able to fulfill all their first-line recipients that are eligible now. And you go, what's going on?
California's used just 40% of the 5.3 million doses allocated by the federal government. It's among the 5 slowest states to vaccinate, according to the CDC. But California's just one state of many that had been heralded as effectively managing the pandemic. Maryland is another.
The demand for vaccines will continue to far exceed the supply that will be available to us.
Government figures show wealthy and highly educated Maryland is well below average among states in getting shots into arms. Neighboring West Virginia, though, poorer and less educated overall, is a champion among states. It's now the first to provide vaccinations to every nursing home resident. CDC figures show several New England states and the Dakotas are among those with the highest reported death rates. Yet North Dakota has one of the highest vaccination rates, having used 85% of its available doses. But other mostly rural states with fewer hospitals have managed to keep death rates relatively low, including Utah, Kentucky, and Maine. Florida, even with its large senior population, has managed to keep death rates in the middle of the pack among states. It ranks 26th. But challenges remain. 75-year-old Nancy Smythe spends 3 to 4 hours a day trying to score a vaccine appointment in Naples.
It seems hopeless.
At retirement haven The Villages, a vaccination site closed suddenly last weekend, leaving seniors racing for shots at drive-up sites and supermarkets.
We spent at least an hour on the phone, the two of us just dialing till we finally got through to get the first dose.
Asked at the World Economic Forum about the biggest COVID challenge in the United States, Dr. Fauci said that mixed messaging has cost the nation dearly. He also pointed out that states have responded inconsistently to pandemic challenges. That is a look at some of today's top health stories as you're watching the KOAM Morning News as we take a look at the Skywatch Weather Center, the storm tracker. We've got mostly cloudy skies, temperatures right now in the 20s, wind chills down into the teens for our Thursday morning. But we're going to clear off some of this cloud cover and be able to make it up into the 40s here a little bit later on as we'll jump into those temperatures since I've got time to kill. 27 in Carthage, 28 in Independence, and 30 right now in Miami. Wind switch is going to be the key factor because once it begins to work in from the south, that's going to feed us some warmer temperatures, and eventually we're going to have 40-degree weather. That snow is going to melt off. It's going to melt off pretty good today. and even warmer there by the time we get into Saturday. Now, speaking of Saturday, Friday and Saturday, Saturday is our next shot for some rain. But the nice thing is, with it being that warm, it will simply stay as rain. Got all the latest for you on the Skywatch Weather app. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
The state's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the story of a generous tip from a man thanking the employees who have been serving him for a decade. For our morning talker, we're asking, what's your favorite Super Bowl snack? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Mostly cloudy to start, but that's going to change as everything will push off to the east. Freeman Health System sky camera, cold one, where it's 27 degrees and a wind chill right now of 19. 28 in Oswego, 27 in Lamar, and 28 in Neodesha. But as we progress through our afternoon, able to make it up into the mid-40s. Plenty of sunshine. Say goodbye to any snow left on the ground.
Well, we're seeing discrepancies in vaccine data at the federal, state, and local levels, even as the state of Missouri rolls out a new system. CDC's COVID data tracker showed that there's been 340,000 doses given in Missouri, but the Missouri tracker shows there's been more than 374,000. There's also discrepancies between the state and local levels. In McDonald County, the state says 737 doses have been given, but the county says it's actually more than 1,000. The director of the Newton County Health Department says it might come down to time delays. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. The governor's spokesperson says Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens, and they plan to ask for more. Those would be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move won't keep pharmacies from finishing their work providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. A bill before the Missouri Senate yesterday would allow for more regulation of the tobacco and vaping industry. The bill would raise Missouri's legal age to purchase those products to 21, which is already the federal limit. It would also regulate vaping like tobacco, require vendor registration, increase fines, and allow for local enforcement. Jenny Chadwick, an advocate of Tobacco 21, supports the bill in full. Opponents say it would contradict previous Missouri legislation differentiating the two. Lawmakers proposed similar legislation last year in the COVID-shortened session. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has reissued and signed executive orders addressing COVID-19 response. One allows Kansas employers to continue withholding taxes based on the state of the employer's primary work location, not where the employee is doing telework. Others allow deferred tax deadlines and prohibit some foreclosures and evictions. The state of Oklahoma is trying to give some meds back. The state's AG is trying to return $2 million worth of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. Oklahoma acquired 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. The company's spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has since been shown to have little or no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. A former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to the fog of war. A grim reckoning as the doomsday clock remains close to a 2-minute warning. So does that mean you've got 2 minutes to head to your underground bunker? Well, not exactly. The clock has become known worldwide as the world's indicator for the Earth's vulnerability to catastrophes like climate change, nuclear weapons, and technologies which could cause dangerous disruptions. And yesterday, the international countdown of what leading science and security experts say shows a threat to human existence is reportedly stuck at 100 seconds. That's right, 100 seconds. The clock is as close to midnight as it ever has been due to the coronavirus pandemic and nuclear and climate perils, which started in 2020. Scientists said the mishandling of the global health crisis should be a, quote, wake-up call. Institutions, governments, and a misled public should start to get ready for even more dangerous threats.
Will not obliterate civilization, and we expect the disease to recede eventually. Still, the pandemic serves as a historic wake-up call, a vivid illustration that national governments and the international organizations are unprepared to manage complex and dangerous challenges like those of nuclear weapons and climate change, which currently pose existential threats to humanity.
Coming up in our next half hour, we'll hear from a local doomsday prepper on how he's preparing for the worst case scenario. And even if you're not preparing for the apocalypse, it's always a good idea to have a plan in case of emergency. Well, Watered Gardens in Joplin is working to change the culture of panhandling in the city. The ministry is launching an advertising campaign aimed at encouraging the public to give better when it comes to panhandling. That means asking people to not hand out money, but instead offer information.
To do is realize that as a person is standing on a corner hoping that you're going to hand money out of a window, if you do that, what are they going to do the next day? They're going to come back to the same corner and they're going to hold the sign again. And so what we've got to do is learn how to give better, be more relational about our charity, stop and ask some questions, point some people in the right direction.
For more information on the Watered Gardens campaign, we've put a link in the story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, the story of a loyal customer giving back to employees who've been serving him for a decade. Plus, Indonesia's Mount Merapi erupted, forcing hundreds living by to flee. We'll have the latest there, but first, it's 5:37.
Make it up into the mid-40s today. Finally get a little sunshine here later on. Sunrise 7:24 over Joplin Regional Airport. And the melt is on as we'll be up into the 50s by the time we get to the weekend. We'll be back with more KOM Morning News right after this.
Topping World Watch, a Canadian man is facing charges after authorities say he wanted to stop an election and was willing to use violence to do it. Mark Quinn reports.
This is the man police say wanted to stop the provincial election. George Brake was captured by police after a chase. They found 36 knives in a box next to him.
We believe that Mr. Brake was a threat to cause death or serious bodily harm.
Brake's Facebook page paints a picture of an angry man. Many posts have been taken down by the app, but others suggest Brake supported former U.S. President Donald Trump and doesn't believe that the pandemic or the vaccine to prevent it are real. Police were called by a concerned resident who said Brake was talking about weapons and heading to Deer Lake to stop the ongoing provincial election. He was stopped by police about 30 minutes later in Deer Lake, near the office of PC Humber Grossmorn candidate Jim Gowdy. Police say Brake made an alarming statement.
At that time, Mr. Brake threatened to execute local politicians.
Brake had these knives in his pickup with him. Police say one was lodged next to the driver's seat. Liberal leader Andrew Furey says it's a heavy blow to him and his family, one that made him question his decision to enter politics.
I'm not going to lie to you, it hits close to home. It makes you question, if you're doing the right thing. I do believe that I am doing the right thing. I do believe that others are doing the right thing. But it is very troubling.
Furey has continued to campaign today. He's hundreds of kilometers north of Deer Lake and still weeks away from the February 13th provincial election day.
My wife is with me on the Great Northern Peninsula today, and, to have to, tell our children about this because it was on the news, frankly, over FaceTime, and it's tough.
The Progressive Conservative Party's leader believes candidates are now safe to continue campaigning.
This seems to be an isolated incident aimed at candidates in general and the election process.
Police say 66-year-old George Brake is due back in court tomorrow afternoon in Corner Brook at 1:30 in the afternoon. They say now that Mr. Brake is in custody, they don't believe there's a threat to politicians. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
And Brake is now facing a number of charges, including uttering threats to cause death or bodily harm. Argentina's Patagonia region is burning. The government estimates more than 17,000 acres are currently affected by forest fires. The government of Rio Negro province says a A team of more than 90 people is fighting the fire. Other federal agencies are also sending aid to the area. The governor of Rio Negro announced a police investigation has been launched to determine the cause of the fires. Indonesia's Mount Merapi erupted on Wednesday, sending plumes of ash into the air. Hundreds living nearby have been forced to flee. No reports right now of injuries or damage, but volcano experts say lava streams and poisonous gas are possible in the area. The eruption comes just weeks after a 6.2 magnitude earthquake flattened buildings and left dozens dead on a nearby island. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
So much time on the clock, I'll probably run through all these comments here. All right, KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Super Bowl wings, that's right. Get this, 1.4 billion chicken wings are expected to be consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. That's from our good friends at the National Chicken Council. They put out a wing report. I'm not making that up. Like, that's what the script says. So evidently we're going to eat 2% more wings than what we did last year. And our good friends at the National Chicken Council say it's because of the pandemic. The council people also tell us 72% of Americans prefer French fries with their wings. 14% prefer celery. I mean, look, if you're going to take a survey, why not be complete from the National Chicken Council? Our question to you, favorite Super Bowl snack? We'll begin with Rocky. Rocky Cunningham says, pizza, beer, 7-layer dip, beer, pork rinds, beer, chips, and beer. Rocky, I don't know what you're doing Sunday, February 7th, man, but you know, I can help with the snacks. I'll be like, I'm down. Love you, Aunt Pat. We say, what up, Aunt Pat? And I always love it when he does that on the Thursday. Sheila Bach Bradley says, we're not big fans of wings, so Sheila goes little Smokies, cheese dips, chips, homemade pretzels, and a brisket sandwich. Homemade pretzels sound wonderful. Robin Rucker, chips dip. She says, maybe some pizza. Becky Mingarelli, not one particular snack we have to have, but as long as there are snacks and beer, I'm happy. All right. Rocky, Becky, and myself, we got a theme. Leo McDonald says, ooh, how about this? Reubens and chips with white cheddar dip. Stopped watching football 4 years ago, but, I mean, Leo, if we're going to do the Reubens and the chip, we don't have to watch football. That's fine. Dave Sorek, KC Wings, formerly known as Buffalo Wings. Well played, Dave. Those Buffalo Bills will have to return to Arrowhead and Chiefs in order to get the name back. I like that. Michelle Pacini, cold morning, everyone. It is indeed, Michelle. Michelle says, think this year I'm going to let my husband decide the menu so I can bribe him into watching the game with me if he wants to eat. Well played. He likes to know the score but not watch. Life too short. People, get over your anger. Morning, Mama. Morning, Michelle. And I'm going to finish off with Guy. Guy says, to me, it's a question of surrendering to the false claim that white America is systemically racist. I watch fake news just enough to keep track of my enemies and research, and I treat the NFL the same way. I stand against the branding done by the Democratic Party, their media, and identity politics. When the knee-taking and the symbolism of white racist America are gone, I'll be back, Guy says. I stand, I give no quarter. By the way, Guy comes off with sweet and spicy drumettes only. I think that's what we should have done. Drums or flats? Maybe we'll do that tomorrow, Guy. I don't know. Now that you bring it up, we should have done drums or flats. On the KOM News Now Insta poll, there's 87 different options. Right now, 50% are going chips and dip. Rocky and Becky, I'm with you. Our choice just didn't make the list, I guess, this morning. Be back with more KOM morning news right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Biden administration projects over the next 4 weeks, as many as 90,000 more Americans will die from the coronavirus. The grim new forecast comes as January is now the most deadly month since the pandemic began, with nearly 80,000 COVID deaths in the U.S. this month so far. And we're seeing discrepancies in vaccine data at the federal, state, and local levels, even as the state of Missouri rolls out a new system. The CDC's COVID data tracker showed that there's been 340,000 doses given in Missouri, but the Missouri tracker shows there's been more than 374,000. There's also discrepancies between the state and local levels. For example, in McDonald County, the state says 737 doses have been given, but the county says it's actually been more than 1,000. The director of the Newton County Health Department says it might come down to time delays. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. The governor's spokesperson says Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens as they plan to ask for more. Those would be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move will not keep pharmacies from finishing their work providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. And the state of Oklahoma is trying to give some meds back. The state's AG is trying to return $2 million worth of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. The Oklahoma required 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. The company spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has since been shown to have little or no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. A former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to the fog of war. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Going to be in the mid-40s later on today. Plenty of sunshine, absolutely delightful to cap off the work week, as we'll have 50s by the time we get to Saturday.
The holidays may be long over now, but someone in Colorado is still giving out gifts. Some restaurant workers who have been through tough times experienced a loyal customer's generosity. Gary Brody has their story.
At a time when restaurant employees need our support, loyal customers are stepping up, like here at Las Fajitas in Castle Pines.
One day he came in and asked one of my employees how many were working here all together.
A few days later, that man showed up with a stack of cash and this card, thanking the employees who have been serving him for a decade.
So nice people up there and still willing to help. And, you know, we just wanted to say thank you for that.
Jose Lazaro was working when that customer came in with $950 to be split evenly between all 19 employees on staff.
One of the waitress, Maria, she just went up there and said, he told me to give you guys $50 each. So everybody, you know, we were so happy and we really didn't know what to say at that moment, you know.
It's a gesture that touched Las Fajitas owner Alberto Granatas, who kept every employee on payroll throughout the pandemic.
I was so happy for them because, you know, I mean, I'm trying to help them the most I can, but I mean, seeing this from customers, wow, it's amazing.
And for Lazaro, it symbolizes a renewed sense of hope and humanity.
I feel really happy, you know, and since that day, I still think that, you know, there is people up there willing to help.
Well, this isn't the first time Colorado customers have felt generous lately. Last week, a man left a $1,400 tip at a bakery in Estes Park. It's pretty awesome. Michael.
All right, Tanya, if that morning routine of yours involves Facebook, you can go to @MichaelHayslip, Koam. Give you an idea, just a quick hitter of our forecast each morning. And of course, coming off of yesterday, we were able to use this to let you know about those advisories, warnings, and watches as they were extended throughout our Wednesday. But today, we're going to have sunny skies. It's going to be absolutely delightful. And then you can go to the KOM page, where our Something to Talk About this morning, your favorite Super Bowl snack, Philip Aaron. All right. Now we got another one. Supreme Pizza and beer, chips and salsa. Will Batiste says, I stopped supporting the NFL when they stopped standing for our national anthem. I don't watch it and could care less, so there's no Super Bowl food here. Sarah West Williams, taquitos and chips and dip. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm going to, like Pavlov's dog over here this morning is what's going to happen. KOM Instapoll this morning. Chips and dip. We've got like 87 selections. We just don't have the one. Who, and forgive me, who was that a second ago? Hang on. That was, because we got Rocky, we got Becky, and Philip. Phillips now, Phillips on board with us. Chips and dip has 48%. No, beer is actually not one of our options here. But anyway, you can log on. Let us know what yours is. KOMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back. Update the Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this. As far as what it feels like outside, we got wind chills that are in the low 20s right now. We've been able to escape the teens, but for the most part, yeah, it's a chilly one. But here's the nice thing. We've been a little sun-starved as of late, and we're going to get some after sunrise at 7:24 at Joplin Regional Airport. And we get a delightful afternoon with temperatures up into the mid-40s and finishing off the work week in a dry fashion. Any snow that's still on the ground going to be a thing of the past by the time we get to Saturday. Speaking of Saturday, next shot for rain. More KOM Morning News after this.
What's behind discrepancies between federal, state, and local vaccine data? Plus, why Missouri will take back unused vaccine doses from pharmacies, and why the state of Oklahoma wants to return $2 million worth of drugs bought to treat COVID patients.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, a policy change coming for federally backed mortgage loans affecting DACA recipients. And for our morning talker, we're asking, what's your favorite Super Bowl snack? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Cloud cover to get out of here as we start with mostly cloudy skies. We are on the dry side, however. Freeman Health System sky camera. A little bit of a chilly one. There we go. Wind chill dropping down to 19 degrees right now.
Ooh.
These are actual temperatures. 28 in Parsons, 27 in Monette, and a pair of 27s in both Fort Scott and Nevada. But watch the wind arrows shift. And eventually, as they work in from the south, going to feed us some warmer temperatures. You got to remember, that system that we had yesterday, that's a thing of the distant past. Already moved all the way off to the Atlantic. So we get a little late January warm up here, as we'll have mid-40s today. And not only that, how about we keep on riding the 50s as we close out the work week and finish off the month. Next shot for precipitation, yeah, it is Saturday. It's going to be a little bit of a wet weekend there, but at least it will stay as rain.
All right. Looking forward to a warm up though. It's been a cold week so far, so that'll be nice.
Well, it's January, I mean.
Yeah, true. And it could have been much colder.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
I mean,
the cold weather to put
we haven't had anything that's like dropped us down to, I don't remember the last time we had single-digit wind chills.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Michael. Another one of our local health departments now has COVID-19 vaccines. KOAM's Zach Dodge has details and why they think there are discrepancies between federal, state, and local vaccination data.
Coronavirus vaccines have finally arrived at the Newton County Health Department, and the phone's already ringing off the hook.
Rang like 3 times all day, and then
the department received 200 doses of vaccine, which will be used for people in Phase 1A, people in nursing homes, and first responders.
We heard early on that we would have vaccine by middle to late December, and then we heard by mid-January. So we're thankful that now we do have it.
This comes a day after CDC data had the state ranked in last place as far as percentage of overall population that have been given their first dose. But there are some discrepancies in the numbers at every level. For example, the CDC says there's been 340,000 doses given in the state, but the state says there's been more than 374,000. And there's discrepancies between the state and local levels as well. In McDonald County, for example, the state says there's been 737 doses given, but the county is reporting more than 1,000.
At the local level, we enter data right here, right now, and then that data has to be relayed back to the state, and then the state relays it back to the federal. Some of that data may be delayed.
Now, both the state and federal sites have disclaimers saying that the numbers may not line up, but they're in fine print. So at least for now, Bergner recommends paying the most attention to the local numbers.
I think as a resident, there might be some anxiety because of lack of communication. Transparency would be nice so that all residents will know why there's a lag and why we might be behind and why some of the vaccine orders are not getting filled.
Now that they have vaccines, he wants residents to be confident that they're going to get them into arms as quickly as possible. In Newton County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Bergner tells us once they receive enough doses to administer them to all eligible residents, they plan to hold drive-through vaccine clinics, but they'll be by appointment. We'll have more info on how to sign up on our website. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. The governor's spokesperson says Governor Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens, and they plan to ask for more. Those would be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move will not keep pharmacies from finishing their work at providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. A bill before the Missouri Senate yesterday would allow for more regulation of the tobacco and vaping industry. The bill would raise Missouri's legal age to purchase those products to 21, which is already the federal limit. It would also regulate vaping like tobacco, require vendor registration, increase fines, and allow for local enforcement. Jenny Chadwick, an advocate of Tobacco 21, supports the bill in full. Opponents say it would contradict previous Missouri legislation, differentiating the two. Lawmakers proposed similar legislation last year in the COVID-shortened session. NEO A&M receives $15,000 to support arts programs on campus affected by the pandemic. The school will buy new gear such as cameras, projectors, and live streaming equipment. One notable purchase will be a sound system. Connor Rice, a music education student at the college, says this purchase will help all music students at NEO.
And one of the main ways that it will help us in band, I'm speaking from a band perspective, is brass. You can hear brass on a field pretty good. Trumpets, stuff like that. But the woodwinds, saxophones, clarinets, you can't really hear them.
The grant will help showcase students who otherwise would not have the chance to shine. The state of Oklahoma is trying to give some meds back. The state's AG is trying to return $2 million worth of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. Oklahoma acquired 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. The company spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has since been shown to have little or no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. A former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to the fog of war. 6:07. And
temperatures today are going to range up into the mid-40s. Going to be absolutely delightful with plenty of sunshine. Sunrise coming up at 7:24. No worries for the kiddos to the bus stop other than keeping them warm, as wind chills are in the high teens, low 20s this morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a vaccine rollout plan.
We've now hit the deadliest month of the entire pandemic. I'm Deborah Alfrone in Washington, where President Biden's new coronavirus task force is rolling out a plan to get the vaccine out to as many people as possible as quickly as they can.
Federal policy makes it easier for U.S. residents with DACA status to buy a home. And we talked to a local doomsday prepper. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, a major policy change involving federally backed mortgage loans. Real estate agents and lending agencies are praising the Housing and Urban Development Department's move to allow deferred action for childhood arrivals, also known as DACA recipients, to qualify for federal housing administration loans. The decision opens a new opportunity for many so-called dreamers who are wanting to make their American dream of owning a home a reality. And experts say it's a move that will help the overall economy.
Opportunity, a shift in federal policy making it easier for dreamers, U.S. residents with DACA status, to buy a home.
Being able to buy real estate as a dreamer has been super important to me because it allows me to build wealth for me and my future generations.
They're now eligible for the loans backed by the Federal Housing Administration. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development announced the update last week. This new policy opens up the field of mortgage options for dreamers, giving them access to a wider variety of affordable, accessible paths to home ownership. Since the announcement, some loan officers have seen a spike in interest.
The volume of calls that we received last week compared to before, it probably increased by maybe 70%.
We see the value of DACA recipients. We've offered conventional loans for DACA recipients from day one.
To be clear, Dreamers have always qualified for conventional loans. This move opens up another option for those who may not have the traditional 20% down typically required for those types of loans. That's because an FHA loan requires only a 3.5% down payment and a minimum 580 credit score.
Now people can buy a duplex, for example, put 3.5% down, live on one side and rent out the other, and maybe they're living for free.
Real estate experts expect this move to create a positive domino effect.
When a dreamer buys a home, there are so many different people involved, so many people like that do get paid, that stimulate the economy.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Other FHA requirements remain in place for all potential borrowers of FHA loans, including the purchase of a property as a principal residence, proof of a valid Social Security number, and a valid work permit. M&M's is giving fans a sneak peek of its new Super Bowl ad. The 30-second spot will premiere virtually on Zoom with Spokes Candy Yellow on February 3rd. The first 50,000 people to register on M&M's website will be able to participate in the sweet treat, but everyone can see the new ad during the first commercial break after Super Bowl 55 kicks off. Of course, that's Sunday, right here, February 7th on KOAM. Well, there's not a doubt in this world that when St. Valentine inspired Valentine's Day, he had this in mind: pink mac and cheese, which is flavored like candy. Really? Kraft Heinz is releasing this ultra romantic dish, sure to fire up any relationship just in time for the day made for lovers. But you can't buy it. No, if you want to prove you're Romeo, you have to register on candycraftmacandcheese.com and hope to win one of only 1,000 boxes the company is giving away. I don't know how I feel about candy-flavored mac and cheese. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Pushing up on 6:17, good time for weather on the 7s. Our almanac for this January 28th. Look at our monthly precipitation right there. Normally, historic average would be about 1 3/4 of an inch, so we've almost doubled that in the time being, and we'll actually get more rain here on the 30th. So it's going to be a little impressive when it comes to our January rainfall. Now, no worries. In fact, the entire Midwest remains dry, and all the watches and warnings associated with our storm from yesterday are now all the way to the mid-Atlantic, as the majority of the action, they still get a little snow there right along the East Coast, but it turns back into rain. So really no worries for a contiguous 48 that was locked in winter weather just 2 days ago. 27 degrees from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. Wind chill right now of 19, 27 in Fort Scott. Let's roll 30 in Miami, and a trio of 27s ranging from Carthage down to Monette and Neosho. National perspective, you see the ridge that's forming right there over the Rockies. That's an indicator that we're going to have some warmer temperatures, despite the fact that when we look down to the south right now, it's a relatively chilly start for their Thursday morning as well. But we're going to be able to make it up into the 40s. Love this. We're a little sun-starved, so it'll be nice to have some of that glow cloud. All hail the glow cloud. It'll be nice to actually see some of it this afternoon. And like I said, really no worries about rain for Thursday or Friday, as a matter of fact. And overnight lows, this is going to be good too. We're able to stay just above the freezing mark, so it's going to be delightful. And then as we push into the weekend, that's where we get some changes. Now, here's the thing. With our temperatures being what they are, it's just going to stay as rain. Looks like it's going to set up to be a wet Saturday, though. Pretty widespread. Nothing severe, just some good old-fashioned January showers. Then as we finish off the month and turn into February, that's seasonable on Sunday and Monday. That's actually pretty warm there to begin February. Usually we'd be about, say, 45, 46 degrees, so that's not too bad to start off the brand new month. All right, time now to turn it over to our own Jesse Irwin.
Say the power did go off for whatever reason, an EMP or a solar flare that comes in, then you're looking at not having nothing. So how are you going to feed your family? How are you going to feed yourself?
Beneath that sinister pall of smoke, the world
Doomsday preppers.
While they prepare for the worst, their intentions are usually for the best. Over the last 31 years here in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, Dwayne Converse has become the prepper's prepper.
You know, you have different events like Y2K, so forth and so on. You have all kinds of events that shocks people, and then they start thinking about that. But when 9/11 happened, 2001, that was a real big year for people being scared to death, like, well, what's next?
However, it's not only in the wake of those moments of fear that surplus stores like Dwayne see a lot of first-time customers walk in the door.
Happens every day, because once they start worrying about, well, this could happen, and if they talk to family members or whatever, they think they're nuts. They're like, ain't nothing ever going to happen. So they come in, so they kind of feel me out, and it's a natural response. And the next thing you know, they come in regularly, they want to talk about stuff, and I'm glad to share my knowledge. I feel like it's my duty to do so.
That's where he sees it as an opportunity to be proactive, not paranoid. Sure, it could maybe help in the event of the most unlikely doomsday scenarios, but Dwayne reminds us that it can also prepare us for the ones we see every year and the ones we never see coming.
We want to encourage people to be self-reliant as much as they can be. That varies from person to person.
Keith Stammer, the Emergency Management Director for the City of Joplin, says his office encourages people to think in terms of everyday situations like floods, fires, and weather events.
And to think in terms of 72 to 96 hours. To have enough supplies in terms of water, food, medicine, clothing, radio, batteries, those type of things for that period of time, because that's about how long it takes to get ourselves organized and figure out what happened to us and what we need to do about it and who can we get here to help.
And while the preppers in Dwayne's world choose to store a slightly larger supply, he says his time in the military is when he learned just how valuable those basic items can be.
You've never seen poor until you get in those types of areas. Central America is extremely poor. And so it enlightens you just how simple life can be if you just have a few things.
Showing how a little preparation can mean so much.
I would think in your soul, I think you just feel the need. You just know in your gut that maybe you should prepare. It's just the way it is.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, the coronavirus has now claimed over 429,000 lives in the U.S., 83,000 since the year began. The White House is mobilizing to ramp up vaccinations during what's already the deadliest month of the pandemic. Deborah Alfarone reports from Washington.
The director of the federal coronavirus response had a sobering take on the crisis facing the country.
400,000 people have died. Everything is on the table across the whole supply chain.
The Biden administration's newly appointed team held its first public briefing on Wednesday. Its members warning that some 90,000 Americans could die of COVID-19 over the next 4 weeks.
I know this is not news we all want to hear, but this is something we must say so we are all aware.
The coronavirus is spreading rapidly and it's mutating. A variant first detected in the UK has now been found in over half the states. It's believed to be at least 50% more contagious.
I think the better way to think of it, rather than being more transmissible, is that it's just a little stickier. And so if you're exposed to it, you're more likely to get infected.
Experts say vaccines remain the key to stopping the transmission of the virus. Their rollout, though, continues to face challenges.
We're facing two constraining factors. The first is getting enough supply quickly enough. And the second is the ability to administer the vaccines quickly.
President Biden has described the fight against the pandemic as a war effort. CBS News has learned that FEMA has approached the Defense Department to help staff up to 100 federal vaccination sites. The agency is expected to ask the Pentagon for as many as 10,000 service members to run them. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
According to the CDC, over 20 million Americans have received at least a single dose of one of the COVID-19 vaccines. Coronavirus variants showing up across the U.S. are starting to impact testing for the virus. On Wednesday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says it is asking medical developers to make sure tests can detect the virus, even as it continues to mutate. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says one variant, first identified in the UK, has been detected in 26 states. Moderna said 2 doses of its vaccine should protect against known variations that have emerged. A full moon could impact your sleep. Researchers at the University of Washington found sleep cycles fluctuate during the 29.5-day lunar cycle. They say in the days leading up to a full moon, people go to sleep later and sleep for a shorter period of time. I believe we're entering the wolf full moon phase now. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
I wonder if it has any effect on the tides.
It does, doesn't it?
Highs today in the 40s, whole lot of sunshine, going to be absolutely delightful Thursday and Friday. As a matter of fact, tomorrow will be in the 50s. Let's fast forward and take a look at what we've got this weekend. We're going to see a whole lot of Gulf moisture develop. Watch down in Texas right there where we see it start. And then Saturday, kind of wide sweeping. It's going to be a little bit of a wet weekend. Now, the positive thing of that, you can tell everything stays as rain. We don't have to worry about any snow. We'll be able to kick that out of there by Sunday. So as we get ready to close down January and open up February, temperatures not too bad at all, especially considering what we come off of last couple of days. Now remember, we've got wind chills right now on this Thursday morning that are down into the teens. But then as we look at it, we got a whole bunch of 40s and 50s on the board, and only one time on the 7-day forecast do we see our overnight low slip below the freezing mark. And we're due for some sunshine after a couple overcast days, so it's going to be perfect end of the month. Now, as far as our precipitation goes, it has shaped up to be a little bit of a wet one. We're almost double from what we normally anticipate. All the latest on the Skywatch Weather app.
Your state's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, a new warning from Homeland Security about violent homegrown extremists. And for our morning talker, we're asking, what's your favorite Super Bowl snack? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Overcast to start our Thursday, and it is a chilly one outside, but we've got great news here on the horizon. Look from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. 27 degrees with a wind chill, though, of only 19. Here's your actual temperatures. 30 in Parsons, 30 in Miami, 26 in both Carthage and Monette. Now, as the wind slowly begins to make its clockwise motion and work in from the south, it means we've got a warm up on the way. But bundle them up as they head off to the bus stop because our wind chills are in the teens and low 20s. And as far as our weather trend, sunshine, finally. Sunrise officially at 7:24 in Joplin. It'll work us up into the 40s. And for the next 2 days, we're actually going to have temperatures that will be above average and stay on the dry side. Overnight, we drop down just about to the freezing mark, but then we're right back up into the 50s for Friday and Saturday. Now, speaking of Saturday, a whole lot of Gulf moisture is going to work in. It's going to be a wet Saturday. But then after that, as we close out January and begin February, actually looking pretty amazing for this time of year.
I think we can handle that rain as long as it stays well above freezing, even at night. 54. Yeah, I'll take that. All right, thanks, Michael. The Newton County, Missouri Health Department receives its first shipment of coronavirus vaccines. The director tells us they were originally told the shipment would come by mid-December and that they had originally requested 400 doses but only received 200. Now, these 200 doses will be used for residents who fall into Phase 1A and for residents of nursing homes and first responders.
We're excited that we have the vaccine and now we can start to help vaccinate our public. When I take phone calls and even emails, I can sense the excitement from the public to know that finally we have reached the point where we can see the end coming.
They plan to hold drive-through vaccination clinics when more vaccine comes in. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. The governor's spokesperson says Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens, and they plan to ask for more. Those would be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move won't keep pharmacies from finishing their work providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. Watered Gardens Ministries in Joplin is launching a campaign on ways to give better in response to panhandling. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
A man we spoke with, named Chad, has been panhandling with his fiancée for nearly a year. Chad didn't want to be on camera, but he says he and his fiancée lost the house they were living in and have been panhandling since that time to make ends meet.
I had a couple 2 nights ago, or 2 days ago, pull up and they bought us both a meal and gave us some cash and bought us a suite at Homewood and gave us a bunch of quarters to do laundry.
James Whitford is the executive director of Watered Gardens Ministries. They've launched a new campaign to help panhandlers in the city.
What we've got to do is realize that as a person is standing on a corner hoping that you're going to hand money out of a window, if you do that, what are they going to do the next day? They're going to come back to the same corner and they're going to hold the sign again. And so what we've got to do is learn how to give better.
The new campaign includes television and radio ads as well as billboards educating the public on ways to more productively help. The chair of the Homeless Coalition, Robin Smith, says she thinks the initiative is a good idea and it coincides with their street outreach the coalition does, where they hit the streets providing that information to panhandlers and the homeless. However, in the years of handing that information out, she says not everyone is interested.
They came from Kansas City or whatever, and they're heading to Texas, and they've stopped at Joplin. They're going to panhandle for some money. They're not going to want those services because that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for a meal or a bed.
Chad says after spending a year on the street corners, it's changed his perspective.
I definitely think that not if, but when we get back on our feet, I will be the first person to help somebody that I pay it forward, because we've gotten so much help, so many different people in so many different ways.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The Homeless Coalition is participating in the Point-in-Time Homeless Census, which gives updated, accurate contact information on local shelters and transitional housing providers for those in need. For more information on the Watered Gardens campaign, we've put a link in the story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. The state of Oklahoma is trying to give some meds back. The state's AG is trying to return $2 million worth of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. Oklahoma acquired 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. The company's spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has since been shown to have little or no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. A former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to the fog of war. All right, so here's some cuteness to brighten up your day out of St. Louis, where a group of penguins enjoyed a walk around the zoo in snow. King penguins Ethel and Elliot, along with Gentoo penguins CJ, Oshi, Linus, Sunny, Double, and Trouble, all took a quick field trip in the snow. King and Gentoo penguins are native to the Antarctic region. They've even visited their neighbors, polar bear Callie and grizzly bears, Huck and Finley. The penguins were able to get up close to see the polar and grizzly bears with the help of the zoo's bird and carnivore animal care teams. I bet that was a interesting situation. The penguins willingly approached, and that's according to zoo officials. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a new threat of violence.
A startling warning from Homeland Security about violent threats from domestic extremists. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the U.S. Capitol with how the riot here may have emboldened these groups.
Plus, for our morning talker, we're asking, what's your favorite Super Bowl snack? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Chilly start is the wind chills right now in the low 20s. Luckily, we're going to warm all the way up into the mid 40s. Going to be very delightful as the larger system is now pushed all the way off to the mid-Atlantic. So no worries for us until we close out the end of the month. Do have some rain coming there on Saturday, but temperatures staying pretty much right at, if not above, normal for this time of year. We'll be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, a new warning from the Department of Homeland Security says the U.S. is facing threats from violent homegrown extremists, emboldened by what unfolded at the Capitol riots on January 6th. Deborah Alfarone has more on this rare warning.
It has been 3 weeks since pro-Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, and it is this very attack that experts say is now emboldening violent domestic extremists in dark corners of the internet.
There certainly, I think, seems to be, unfortunately, a broader acceptance of the use of violence.
The Department of Homeland Security has issued an alert saying these potential bad actors may be inspired by false election narratives. They're describing a heightened threat environment from domestic violent extremist groups that may be emboldened to act by the successful breach of the U.S. Capitol. In an interview on CBS this morning, Michael Chertoff, former Secretary of Homeland Security, spoke of the threat even before the alert was issued.
And I think we need to treat it as seriously as we have been treating global jihadism in terms of a threat to Homeland Security.
The Homeland Security warning doesn't get too specific, but does indicate that extremists may be inspired to target elected officials.
Now, more than 30 members of the House of Representatives are asking for permission to use their congressional allowances to beef up personal security. In a letter sent to top leadership, first obtained by CBS News, lawmakers say they want some of that money to go towards hiring local law enforcement or other security personnel in their home districts. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
The letter was signed by 31 Democrats and 1 Republican. Meanwhile, the federal riot investigation is hitting a new milestone with more than 160 arrests, 19 of whom had extremist ties. The Department of Homeland Security is saying the heightened alert will last until at least April. The Biden administration projects over the next 4 weeks, as many as 90,000 more Americans will die from the coronavirus. The grim new forecast comes as January is now the most deadly month since the pandemic began, with nearly 80,000 COVID deaths in the U.S. this month so far. Today, NASA will pay tribute to those who lost their lives in the pursuit of space exploration. January 28th is NASA's Day of Remembrance. The entire agency is set to commemorate space missions that ended in tragedy. They will honor the crews of Apollo 1, Space Shuttle Columbia, and the Space Shuttle Challenger. Thursday also marks 35 years since the Challenger explosion. In 1986, the Space Shuttle broke apart 73 seconds into flight. 7 crew members were killed, including Krista McAuliffe, who would have been the first teacher in space. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Generationally speaking, unfortunately, I think we all remember exactly where we were when watching the launch. KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll. Really no smooth segue I can make coming off of that. It's about Super Bowl food and this National Chicken Wing Council group thing. I still don't know who these people are. All right, Earl Haas, he's not going to watch a Super Bowl, but he's going to eat ribeyes, potatoes, and enjoy Andy Griffith rerun. I like Andy Griffith, and I love ribeyes and potatoes, Earl. That ain't bad at all. Alicia Sherman Parrish, not a Super Bowl watcher, but pizza and wings, nacho cheese dip, and chips. Arlen Will York, love wings at B-Dubs. Favorite Super Bowl snack is pizza. Red Berry, jalapeno poppers, nachos, meatballs, wings, topped off with, you guessed it, and later 2 tablespoons of Pepto. Well played, Rhett. Go Chiefs. And James Cole. That's right. Got to wash it down with some nachos. So y'all are welcome to join the Get Off My Lawn Club while you're at it, too, for everybody that was like James and Rhett. You get the show. All right, on the KOM News Now Instapoll. Still got 36% chiming in to say chips and dip. What's second place? Pizza. Pizza's actually in second place. So the National Wing Council, I don't know. We've been talking about sliders. Look at this. Sliders has 14%. They got more than chicken wings. You need Chicken Wing Council. You need a PR dude. Birthdays and anniversaries are next.
We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Ethan Irvin, who served in the United States Army National Guard. He joined in 2008, serving in Iraq. His hometown, Bentonville, Arkansas, We are proud to salute Ethan Irvin, our fourth state hero.
We begin the old birthday list off with a big number 9 for Miss Heidi King. What a great picture right there. Happy birthday, Heidi. She is in Richards.
All right, and Colby Smith is celebrating birthday number 13. Welcome to the teenage years, Colby and Dunawig, with love from Mom and Dad.
Hey, we got one of the Heights with a birthday. It is Miss Madison. Party on as she celebrates her 21st. Happy birthday, Madison in Frontenac.
All right, all your family and friends are wishing you a happy 31st. Kayla Weisinger in Wyandotte. Happy birthday, Kayla.
And we got a milestone for Ann Keller. A happy 40th birthday to Ann. She's in McCune.
Glenda Darnell Kyler celebrating birthday number 48 this year in Dunwig. Birthday wishes coming from Darren, Colby, Skylar, and the CST crew. Happy birthday,
What is
Glenda.
the CST crew?
I don't know. That's
Glenda, I don't know what the CST crew is, but if you extend me an invitation, I don't know if I'm allowed to be in the crew. I don't know. But I want to know what the CST crew is and if I can join and how I join. Art Small has an 80th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Small. He's in Neodesha.
And Ron Trim celebrating a birthday in Thayer, Kansas. I hope it's a great one, Ron. Happy birthday.
Got an anniversary to pass along. It is Tom and Jenny Claflin. Tom and Jenny celebrating 61 years. Congratulations to the Claflins, who are in Sheldon.
I love that picture. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Claflins. And let's see, we've got another birthday. Randy Alsup is now 63 years old in Crestline. Hope it's a
Brand
great
that
one,
screen
Randy.
all to himself right there. I like that. All right, happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Here's where you send them in. Birthdays at KOAMTV.com. Or if you prefer, if it's easier for you, you can go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com/birthdays. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
From the Skywatch Storm Tracker, a mostly cloudy start. I'm waiting on a little break out there in the west, and we're going to get it. We got a while till sunrise here. It won't be over Joplin until 7:24 as the Midwest has been able to kick off that snowstorm system that we had yesterday. Really did break up when it got to the Atlantic right there. That one up in the Ohio River Valley is actually a separate one that was up in the upper plains, but not a whole lot of watches and warnings, especially when you think back to 2 days ago where we had 110 million people in the contiguous 48 that were under a winter weather advisory, watch, or warning of some type. From the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, 27 degrees. It only feels though like 19. These are actual temps, 30 in Miami, 27 in Monette, and 29 in Chanute. The big ridge of the jet stream means some warmer temperatures. Got an atmospheric river out on the west coast. Look at all that rain that they've got, and then it turns into snow there where it hits the mountains. But for us, no, we've got no worries here to close out the next several days and get ready to say goodbye to January and hello to February. Future Track shows you how the clouds will disperse. Then overnight, not too bad, just around the freezing mark, warming back up into the 50s on Friday. Now, we do have a development on Saturday. Watch Texas as it Gulf moisture forms right there, rolls through Oklahoma, so it looks like it's going to be a rain-filled Saturday, but still, it's just going to stay as rain as we're going to be able to stay in the 50s. We'll be right back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. More comments here as far as your favorite Super Bowl snack. No, we didn't get any more. I didn't get any new ones. Got James Cole still up there. That was the beer comment. So, you can always log on, take part, KOMNewsNow.com on Facebook, or our Insta poll that Chips and Dip is our winner so far, 36%. Go to KOMNewsNow.com/vote.
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Biden administration projects that over the next 4 weeks, as many as 90,000 more Americans will die from the coronavirus. The grim new forecast comes as January is now the most deadly month since the pandemic began. with nearly 80,000 COVID deaths in the U.S. this month so far. We're seeing discrepancies in vaccine data at the federal, state, and local levels, even as the state of Missouri rolls out a new system. CDC's COVID data tracker yesterday showed that there's been 340,000 doses given in Missouri, but the Missouri tracker shows there's been more than 374,000. There's also discrepancies between the state and local levels. In McDonald County, the state says 737 doses have been given, but the county says it's actually been more than 1,000. The director of the Newton County Health Department says it might come down to time delays. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is trying to distribute more vaccines by taking back unused doses from pharmacies. The governor's spokesperson says Parson is looking to divert 25,000 doses from CVS and Walgreens. They plan to ask for more. Those would be used at mass vaccination sites throughout the state. Officials say the move won't keep pharmacies from finishing their work providing vaccinations at nursing homes, which have been particularly hard hit by COVID-19. The state of Oklahoma is trying to give some meds back. The state's AG is trying to return $2 million worth of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. Oklahoma acquired 1.2 million pills in April from California-based FFF Enterprises. A company spokeswoman did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The drug has since been shown to have little or no effect on severe cases of COVID-19. A former state health official chalked up Oklahoma's purchase to the fog of war. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We got cloudy skies to begin our Thursday, but that's all going to break up and we're going to get plenty of sunshine here later on. The nice thing about that is we're going to be able to work up into the 40s. Any snow that's still left on the ground is going to be a thing of the past here by the time we get to the weekend, because while we've got the 40s today, we've got the 50s on Friday and Saturday. But remember, Saturday also presenting itself as the beginning of a wet weekend.
All right. In the days leading up to the Super Bowl, we're making some Super Bowl favorites, tailgating food in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
What we got?
I'm going to keep it a surprise. Tune in at noon.
Morning News continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Jesse sits down with a doomsday prepper.
Yeah, more of an advice, what this gentleman has to say. Jesse went into this story with a very open mind and had a long conversation with Mr. Irwin the other day, and was explaining to me that it's one thing to talk about preparation, it's another thing to go through the process and have somebody explain exactly what you need. And not so much when you say doomsday prepper, it kind of has one connotation to it, but almost emergency prep is what it amounted to. And Jesse did a really nice story on it. It's really interesting. If you miss it the first go round, we'll have it over on Fox 14. That wraps it up for this Thursday. Have a great, safe day. Enjoy the glow cloud that's going to be out today. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.